Hello there, my name is Rachel. I can talk about animation, and today we're talking about episode 7 of Digman, second to the final last. Yes, there are only two episodes, this one and next week. And this episode was great. I could not stop laughing this episode, especially all the low-key jokes, like 3 or 4 low-key. If you don't pay attention, they were so fast and low, you just miss them, but I got them each one. It's just kind of hilarious. I think my favorite low-key joke of this episode that the king told off Dickman as a simp. I mean, I was expecting to use lingo from the internet because that's sort of kind of risky because that type of jokes could be automatically outdated or cringe, depends on you how you feel, especially that sort of outdated sort of timeline. Like 2 or 3 years later, that joke that probably not make sense to anyone. Only people are timeline onwards, and yeah, that's a risk. But in the end, it's still enjoyable. I don't know. You think that's a good joke to stay or be sort of outdated in a couple of years? Tell me down below. Let me know. Now, the whole story of this episode is basically Dickman trying to find the Holy Grail before Zan, because Zan has sort of a speech preparing to basically committing that he make a grand opening of his own museum, but he needs the Holy Grail just to make it sort of the grand jewel of the whole museum. But because of this, Dickman decided, you know what? I'm gonna search for the Holy Grail. I'm going to this sort of convention to talk to all these weirdos who knows about the Holy Grail. But let's face it, we all know we're not gonna find it. But I'm still gonna try. But I love it is that the first low-key joke that he asking everyone, and the guy says, "I know, but you do something special for me." But how the Dickman turns around and says, "Not you, you sick pervert. I know what you do." But it's sort of how he said it, or he said his name sort of kind of weirdly, kind of like a almost like a dirty word. That I just like the expression of the ripoff Indiana Jones, like, "Oh, you know me. All right, cool." I love that sort of low key. If you get it, if you don't, but it doesn't matter. It's still kind of funny joke. But besides that, he does get a tip by someone new. He doesn't know who it is, but he risked it up to find this Holy Grail. But I love it. He admits it that he's looking for the Holy Grail just because of the rumors that this magical item can actually give life or rejuvenate life, depends on the person, but it's sort of taboo inside his organization to use this for his own gain. If he does, he'd probably be kicked out or such as a sort of a psychopath using this sort of kind of magical item. But again, it's sort of something that's interesting to see him sort of thinking about it, especially he doesn't want his team to know what he actually is doing. That because he never told them that he has his wife down basement frozen, and that is sort of interesting that I thought they sort of knew. At least that's what I thought at first. No, in this episode, they didn't know Digman's wife is in the basement. But besides that, I did like that sort of kind of road trip that just keep picking up right after right. But he never really explained his team that he's going this sort of road trip to find the Holy Grail. He completely secret. But it seems it's not the first time he does this, because you go back to his team, her right hand man, Zane, Sontin, there we go. Sontin is the only one who actually worry about a Digman. Like, he asked the team, "Do you think we should look around?" We asked, and the team members said, "No, this is what he does usually." Like, they have so much trust of Digman, they don't want to question it. But at the same time, I think because they're sort of used to it, Sonti is not, because she's just still the rookie member, and she was so close to figuring out the big secret what a Dickman holding in the basement. But I love it they kind of switch everything, that she finds something else to track Dickman. Like, sort of interesting if they went that direction. But besides that, that's sort of interesting to see how each character feels or how much they trust Dickman. Especially they find out where he is and they can't go with them because no plane could go to the Arctic. You need a special plane. The only person who has a special plane is his rival, Zane. But I love it they sort of know this and they use this on their advantage to get the Holy Grail first. But I do love one thing about this Part B plot story they get to know more about Zayn a little bit more. I mean, the whole season he always been that sort of kind of English, Middle Eastern smugness that he's sort of charming and asshole at the same time. But I love it. They get kind of fun of that, but not really. That's sort of the charm of Zayn. But I love it. They go a little deep, just a little bit. Like he's like this is because he was sort of grown up in the streets before. Like he knows how to hustle. Why he's sort of easy to backstab and kiss ass to get what he wants. As a sort of joke because some teams sort of gotta understand how he acts this way, and that's sort of interesting, kind of fun to see more about the character because this is the reason why I kind of like this show. They try to give you more insight of the character, even a little bit. Like usually they focus on the main group, not the side characters that much. But I love that they just hint a little bit here and there just to get the characters. But besides that, Digman goes this sort of North Pole to get this sort of Holy Grail. But when he gets there, it was sort of like the little people magical world of Wizard of Oz, Loompa Loompas. Like I know I'm saying a bunch of things randomly, but that's how to best describe this sort of area. And all of them are trying to get this magic jar super high. Nobody could get it. Then you realize, no, it's because or you guys are kind of short. Like I mean, you can use stairs or use a stick to push this magical item of jar just to push it. Like no, they're just I don't think they have common sense, but I think that was supposed to be the joke. This group of people are just don't have common sense, and Dickman like, yeah, I can get it here. Here you go. Oh my God, our new king. Yeah, I love that sort of running like, oh yeah, sure, I'll be your king. Just tell me where the Holy Grail is, and they point the direction when they need to. But this is the twist. Like every single episode had this sort of twist comedic moment that I wasn't expecting. That when he finds this, they put the direction where he have to go to meet this king to get the Holy Grail. That's a sort of second sort of problem that he has to marry the princess to get the Holy Grail that he agrees to, but because of the culture, is everything sort of backwards, and that's the reason why this episode to me is sort of funny because he became sort of yes, basically sort of an incel. That sort of a woman had to beat her own plays, or I beat people, I throw babies on the floor. I mean, he basically did every single very questionable thing to make sure the princess dislikes him so he doesn't feel guilty to steal the Holy Grail. But the ironic part is because of their culture that is attracting to her. And he's just like, I'm sorry, what? And that's the funny part. Like, he really tries to make her pissed off of him. He actually go into a pile of crap just to make a point how filthy, unapologetic the person really is, that make sure when he runs, that doesn't hurt her. But no, she just fully turned on by it. Like, he just doesn't know what to do. And that is funny to me because I wasn't expecting that. I mean, in fact, you wasn't expecting the princess to be turned on by Digman's sort of comments, the things he does. No, I mean, no one does. This is the reason why I enjoy Digman, because they always try to be sort of reverse expectation as a joke as best they can. To right now, every single episode, except episode 4, they really nailed that sort of topic comedy. They try to flip it with the best they can, but keep it as grounded and makes sense. And that's why this show is always good to me, especially this 7 episodes. This was surprisingly really good. But I love it. Zayn actually came with something, and they trying to go in to save Digman to get the also Holy Grail, but Zayn sort of portrayed everybody to get the Holy Grail, and all this convolution that it lost the Holy Grail. Digman actually told his own team what happens to him and reason why he chose to be alone, and showing his wife is still in the basement, and it became sort of a drama. Like, how could you portray us? Specifically, more Santillion, that she feels portrayed because she's the most dedicated, but at the same time, I was surprised that second twist, that the little people, or the little people who lived in that mountain, it was sort of a trap for Digman, because they don't want the Holy Grail. It's sort of a curse because it was sort of planned the very end to get it, but we don't know why this sort of curse. And that's sort of an interesting part because most of the old episodes never did that sort of twist, only this one. Maybe because it's the second to the final episode. Grabbed my attention to see what happens next. Why the other organization, Zane's team, wants all this sort of magical items of the museum, and if they know if the Holy Bible, not Holy Bible, the cup actually is cursed. That's sort of interesting. Of course, one complaint is sort of something sort of dramatic. Oh no, you portray me. That I feel that sort of cliche, but they just overdid it because they know it's cliche. I don't know. I feel they should have done it a different way or be more ham to make that joke work better. I don't know. You feel that sort of was a good joke, or if you're just sort of cliche, should have done a little bit different. I don't know you, but that's the only minor complaint I have this episode. Everything of this, every low joke, high joke, interesting twist, works so well. Even that is sort of you find out Dickman's wife, Ice, is sort of melting. That I don't know if Dickman realized that. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, because the show never confirms that till we see the next episode. But besides that, I was sort of intrigued. I'm super curious what happens to the final episode. Hopefully they do get a season 2. I hope this would be really great for you. Tell me you like this episode, tell me down below. Let me know. I got nothing else to say. Just thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day. Bye.